2, 1.
Here we are.
Ladles and jelly spoons. Welcome to Truth, Love, and Peace. I am joined today on Facebook and YouTube and all around the world by Mr. Christopher Spies. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
By way of announcements, just in case something goes wrong with Facebook, so everybody knows, you can find all the podcasts at truthloveandpeace.com or comptonsmith.com will get you to the SoundCloud and the YouTube. And it helps if I put my microphone on me. You'll be able to hear me better.
Get with it, man.
I know, right? The beauty of it is, I guarantee it still picked it up, just not as well. There was something else that I was going to toss in there in the middle of that, but who cares? So, truth, love, and peace. I'm going to start doing this at the beginning. So the big 3 questions to come back to if we need something to reach for.
Okay.
Is what's your truth? What do you love? And where do you find peace? That being said,
okay. Yeah.
Those are the easy things to come back to.
Yeah, so easy.
That being said, we were just talking about technical difficulties amongst other things, and it's good to see you again. A lot of things have happened since the last time we worked together.
A lot of things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So saxophone extraordinaire. I just found out recently, as in today on the way here.
Yeah.
Flute player extraordinaire, and
I only barely play flute. That's a new development.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I'm going with extraordinaire all day long.
I'll take it.
But it's great. You guys, you've been doing great things. You're playing with Samantha Fish now, and I think that kind of catches us up. You've been playing saxophone for a long time. That's where we met.
Yeah. It's about 8 years. Well, professionally, about 8 years. But I did middle school and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start in all of that? Or we can start with the technical difficulties
Let's just get
that
that out
happen
of the way.
on the fly.
Yeah. Well,
sounds like you want to
lead into-
confess.
Yeah. So, Big Jam Space Driver had a gig at the Brickyard.
Yeah.
And we had just set everything up, and I had gotten my computer hooked up to the board to record the entire thing. And man, I was just not on it. I forgot 3 songs, and I didn't check all the signals before, so like half of them were clipping the entire time. Yeah, this was a waste, you know, it's like a total waste of the recording almost. Really just for us at that point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was in response to what you were just saying.
Yeah, I've done that. If you want to see it in real time, if you go back and watch episode like 46 or something, the first time Owen and I sat down.
Oh, okay.
It was comedy of errors. I missed a few things, all because I had an SD card screw up and I couldn't figure out how to fix it quickly. I got frustrated.
Technology, man.
Yeah, but
It's ridiculous.
that's my OCDs, like me wanting you to move your lapel mic up just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Just above that button. That's perfect right there.
You got it, dude.
See, look at you satisfying my OCDs. If that didn't need to happen, it just makes me feel better.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything you need.
It's just so good to see your face. It's so good to sit down with you again.
Man, yeah.
I'm used to seeing you in, we got a sound check, we got a douche, we got a no.
I know. And
But now you're on vacation and we can relax.
I'm here. I'm on vacation for like 10 days. And I'm gone for a month. But man, it's weird. I haven't been on the scene at all since January.
Yeah.
You know, I've been all over everywhere else. And it's kind of strange. It's getting increasingly more difficult to find gigs here. Because I'm not here. People don't know that I'm here, you know.
Doing good.
But it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, you know, in a lot of ways. Like, I'm learning so much right now, you know, like how the business works, and like I'm learning a lot about myself, like what I can actually take and what I just cannot stand at all. And it's a very good growing experience. I'm very happy, but it's just making me want to be here more, you know, more than I ever have.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much stuff to pick apart in that.
Have at it, man.
This is going to be exciting. So first, I would plug to Audio Tree TV.
Yeah.
I watched that earlier today and just discovered them.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys doing great work.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Top of the line.
Yeah. So I saw all of that material, and I guess I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Between the two albums,
Yeah.
I really like the rock and roll as opposed
Chills and
to
Fever.
the country.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it. But what's it been like for the last year in the midst of all that?
Yeah, so, okay, that album, Chills and Fever, is entirely covers. It's all songs from way back that not a lot of people know, and then she just revamped them all.
Yeah.
Belle of the West is mostly her stuff. I think she got a couple from people she was working with. But she wrote all of that, and there weren't any horns on it at all. So the live show, me and the trumpet player, we were kind of pushed into writing parts for these songs that don't have horn parts. And really it's not the style for horns at all.
Yeah.
So that's how I started playing flute. I do hand percussion. She's got me singing and stuff. She's working us. The trumpet player plays guitar and mandolin too.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
I don't want you walking off stage, so just play something else. It's like you got it. I'll do whatever you ask.
We can do that.
Yeah, it was fun. It's a lot of fun. It's pushing me to get better at instruments I never would have touched.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So how did you get approached to do that, or where did that whole thing begin with the Samantha Fish group?
I think that so she had horn players, and their time had come.
Yeah.
For many reasons, not good or bad, either way. Just they were moving on, and Ruben, the manager, was like, "Hey, I'm tired of working with these people that don't take it seriously, and it's usually like a drinking thing, If you drink all day, I don't want you on the gig." And so he's like reaching outside of New Orleans for that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay.
But
there, of the few people who watch this, I doubt any of them are going to report back to them.
Yeah, right. So
right. We're a small group.
Yeah. So he knew my dad because my dad is he plays with Honey Island Swamp Band.
Yep.
And Ruben is their manager. So they knew each other, and he ran into him at 1065, I think, or Bienville Square. It was like a small little day festival that they did, and she was playing it, and he approached my dad like, "Hey, I know that your son plays horn. Would he be interested in doing this?" And this was like August of last year, and I was like, "Yeah, I guess." I was just starting a new semester of college. I was like, "I guess so, but I kind of want to do this, And so that didn't come about until January, and he was like, "Hey, I need you, would you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I dropped out all my classes for the next semester.
Yeah.
And just got on the road.
Nice.
I've been doing it ever since. Yeah. It's cool. I had to put a lot on hold.
Yeah.
It's a strange world to live in. Not being anywhere for longer than 8 hours. It's very strange. It's.
I can identify with that a little bit though. My drum corps was a lot like
Yeah.
that. Because
Dude.
you're asleep and then you wake up and you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you do the same shit you did in the last place you were, and then it happens again.
Yeah,
It's a weird
exactly.
Groundhog Day kind of thing.
It is. It really is. There's a line in one of Samantha's songs. It's like another bar, another hotel room.
Yeah.
And man, that's really all it is.
Yeah.
It's a bar or a venue, hotel room. And like most people are like, "Hey, where are you going next?" I don't know. I don't
Ask
even know
the
where I am
bus
now.
driver. That's not my job.
Yeah, like I don't even know what's going on now. It's disorienting.
Man, that's disorienting, but it's fun though because hard segue into philosophy. Being disoriented is one of the easiest ways to find yourself. You get lost to find yourself, and so that's I think that plays into or takes us to what you were talking about earlier about finding out our own limits.
Yeah.
You know, and learning what we can take and what we can tolerate.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
What have you learned?
Man, I've learned that a lot of the way I interact with people, a lot of the ways I interact with people are very based in my own wants and needs.
Yeah.
With very little regard for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting when you have people call you out for that in a totally nice way. I mean, it's like, hey, you know, come on, think about that for a second. It's I don't know. I just have learned that I need to be a little bit more self-oriented.
Yeah.
You know? And not that I'm totally, you know, selfish and arrogant, but I am a little bit of those things, you know.
Well, everybody has to understand their own perspective. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of the places that Truth, Love, and Peace came from, is out of my theory of fear, power, and novelty. And the one thing that we're all part and parcel to is fight or flight.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has one of those responses, and the rest of it is just complexity that gets layered on top of that.
Right. That's the basis.
Yeah. That's exactly where the Truth, Love, and Peace thing came from.
Yeah. I'm also a lot more confident in my own abilities now, you know.
How so?
I have this weird mental block that, like, I don't know, I don't appreciate, it's not that I don't appreciate it, it's just that I don't appreciate, like, hey, you sounded great, you know, it's like, I don't take that to heart, because it's like, no, I sounded terrible tonight, and it seems fake, but that's just me, you know, that's like my own mental hang-ups, saying like, hey, these people are reaching out to you to say something, and you're just shooting it down. It's shitty, you know. It is. It's shitty.
Gotta take that compliment.
Yeah, man. Not that I get them all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't know. I'm a little bit more self-assured. You know?
Yeah. That self-awareness is important. I can empathize through comedy. If I don't feel like I'm getting the response that I should be getting, then there's one of two options. It's either their fault or it's my fault, and it's always never their fault.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So it's what did I do wrong, or what can I do better? And so when people come up to you, and when you're already in the mindset of, man, I shoulda, and then somebody says, oh, you were so good, and you're like, yeah, but I shoulda.
Right.
It's already self-defeating.
It is. It is.
So I've had that same conversation with myself. It was like, chill out, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the plight of the artists, really. I mean, you know, it's like we're our worst critics, you know.
But that
definitely our hardest.
The best artists are their own worst critics, right?
Yeah, right.
That's how we get better.
I know. It's taking that healthily, doing it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Is a tough balance. Yeah.
So strange. So strange. So, have you had any hot spots, like any of the best memories out of the time on the road?
Man.
What comes to mind first is...
Yeah, I already thought of something the second you asked that. I got to play Stubbs in Austin.
Yeah.
It completely sold out.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole back room, or the whole backyard area. I don't know if you've been there.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, it was amazing. And we were opening up for the Revivalists, so that was a cool hang too. You know, they're all just great dudes. You know, great at their craft and the nicest people. And so that was like, we did a whole little Texas stint with them. But Stubbs was definitely the highlight of that, for sure. It was amazing. Incredible to see that many people just loving it, you know.
How big's that crowd for people who can't see it, haven't been there?
Man, I have no idea. I think it's like 1,200 or something. But everybody's really close. I mean, it's packed in, and you can't walk through the crowd. You know, it seems like way more than it actually is. It was great.
Just a wall of energy.
Yeah, man. And
it's like a fire hydrant, man. When you put it under that much pressure.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was definitely top 3. I've done a lot of different things. Like I got to go to Canada in February, which was awesome. I'm going up there again in late August, September. I've been in both of the oceans. No, not West Coast yet. But I was in the Atlantic Ocean like the last month or so. Never been there. It was cool. You know, I'm seeing a lot of cool things that I never really would have seen.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Travel.
Yeah,
it's
man.
healthy.
It is. It really is.
Very healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's a necessary part of perspective building. You know, the more positions you can see something from, the better you can see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the beauty of travel is it's a constant reminder of how small you are. If you never get there, then how big could you possibly be?
Right. Exactly. So many people on this planet, and and just experiences that you don't even know exist unless you do them and see them. We drove through some mountains in Washington about a month ago. We were going up to this tiny little town called Twisp, Washington. It was 4 hours east or northeast of Seattle. And the whole time it was mountain roads. And growing up here, I'm pretty sure we can all, attest to there's nothing like that anywhere near us, And just these beautiful, natural things.
Yeah.
That you don't really witness the grandeur of unless you're there. That was a really cool moment too.
Yeah, there's Ansel Adams is what comes to mind. The guy that took all the great landscape photos.
Yeah. Okay.
And the difference between seeing a picture of it and being there. It's like the spectacle of nature. We don't have mountains. We have the ocean.
Right. Yeah.
For those of you listening, that we're at the Tinderbox in Mobile, so we're next to the ocean. We're not near the mountains. Just in case.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love those spectacles, man. Being able to see, because again, that's perspective. When you see something that is so much larger than yourself, it makes it easier to accept that compliment and be like, oh, okay, like this is a smaller part of a whole bigger thing.
Right.
That if you, my biggest conundrum in that regard is getting into my own head, and I stay there so long,
right.
And I'm so isolated because I like to be.
Yeah.
That interacting with people is just. It's like there's no way I can tell you everything to catch you up to how long I've been worrying about these 3 words.
Yeah, years.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But going way back, I'm curious about your philosophy of music. How do you see music? How does, aside from it being your job and all that good stuff, what was it like developing your philosophy of music?
Okay. Well, so I watched my dad my entire life doing that, and he was such intensity, and he still has this intensity for it. It's like that's he knew right away that's what he wanted to do. The second he did it, he was like 11 or since,
Wow.
And watching him progress like that, the way he has been a good judge of maybe that's what I'll do. It's always been a part of my life that when it became like an actual part of my life, it felt normal, it felt real, and it felt right. And so like once I started delving in improvisation and everything, it's like, oh, I've found a way to express parts of myself that I didn't even know existed. I think I may have said that at the Big Jam, Truth, Love, and Peace.
That's okay if that's what you think.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally what it is. It's like I can go. I'm not really an emotional person, I don't think. I don't let them show. I have a lot of emotions. I don't really let them show that often. And I can go on stage and play a song and just get angry at nothing, just like, and let it release. It's just a release. So my whole view of music is it's totally therapeutic. It's totally, if you, I don't know. It's a hard question.
So my analogy is that it's a language.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Totally.
and so learning a language, the more proficient you become with that language, the easier it is to communicate something internal.
Right. Ideas through that language.
Yeah.
Specifically. Yeah.
And so we start with, and it's funny you mention anger because we start with this fear that we try to emote and resolve to find some comfort. And then when we move past that, when we share that comfort going the other way, it becomes love.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and then you get into we can go really esoteric and talk about how vibration and love and all that good stuff is the reason that we're here.
Right.
But it's hard to talk about music and not eventually get to the reason music speaks to everybody is because it's a part of something that makes us up.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. It's been around since we have. Yeah. And longer, really,
but we've never not
the world
noticed
creates
it.
Its own, but we've never not done it. And it's like, it's ingrained in us, just like, any other natural instinct we have. It's the same. That's why it's such a widespread thing. I mean, it's a huge industry at this point,
Because it's so easy to identify with, and there's so many rhythms that we are subject to, the circadian rhythms, the rhythms of heartbeats, and, the tidal cycles, and all that good stuff. Like, you can't be neutral on a moving train, like Howard Zinn said. We were on this rock speeding through space.
Yeah.
There is no static.
No.
Like, it's all in motion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any, before I push you too hard on your personal history, I'm always curious about the aha moments that people have. Because so much of learning a skill or learning a language is repetition.
Yeah.
But within that repetition, there are moments of revelation. And that's just a joyous
Yeah.
thing.
I think that mine have been not sudden at all. They've been gradual, realizing that as long as you have authentic emotion behind what you play, you can play anything. And it may not fit the song necessarily, but somebody's going to attach to that and enjoy it, being confident in what you play is half the battle.
Yeah.
Which is, you got to know that you're going to play that note and you're going to play it right. I mean, because otherwise you're kind of fumbling, and then it sounds like you're fumbling. So you gotta have the emotion in it. You gotta have the confidence, and you just gotta put it. That took me a few years to realize.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the 10,000 hours to master something. What do you think of that? Has that held true for you?
Well, I'm nowhere near that at all, but I can see that being a real thing because, we walk every day. We learned how to walk, and if we're so good at it now that we don't even think about it.
Because we drive everywhere now.
Right. Well, yeah, that too. But driving is another thing. It's like you learn how to drive, and now we're so comfortable with driving, we'll zone out and get to where we're going, not even think about it.
Yeah.
That's where I can see the 10,000 hours coming into play. It's like if you're spending hours behind your horn every day, there's going to be a point where you don't even have to think about anything. You just do exactly what you're thinking, the straight stream of consciousness.
The zone.
Through, the zone. I think that's what we all want to get to. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. I have not put enough in. There's the critic in me, I guess. It's like, you can always do more.
and I just have to press that button every once in a while.
Okay.
I think at every podcast, at approximately 25 minutes, I say, just have to press that button every once in a while.
That's funny.
And then it derails me from my train of thought. But talking about the zone and flow states, it's funny that you mentioned driving in a car because everybody can relate to where'd the last 15 miles go, when you just zone out.
Yeah.
And that is the perfect analogy because that's exactly what happens when you go into a deep meditative state. And then it's just autopilot.
Yeah.
And that autopilot, I think, is the dark passenger. That's a whole other thing. No, that autopilot is the byproduct of that repetition. Like your autopilot is as well trained as you practice, I guess.
Yeah.
It's fascinating though. I like. Do you do any meditation kind of stuff?
I don't.
No. Other than practicing, any type of practice is meditation. That's Zen.
I think that the closest to that I get is popping in headphones in the van and just looking out the window, like when we're going from gig to gig.
That definitely counts.
Yeah, I mean, it's all thought at that point, and I've never done the sit down in a quiet room.
Most people
meditate.
can't.
Yeah.
Well, I say most people can't. I can't. It's hard.
It's kind of difficult for me, but I do get into meditative states, I guess. Yeah. Zoning out, I guess, is the same thing.
Yeah. That theta brainwave state.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. I for the longest time, I was very. Wow, I can't remember the word. It's very.
What? Can't remember.
The specific word that I was trying to say. Whatever. Skeptical. There it is. God. Yeah. I was very skeptical to the benefits of meditation and yoga, but I see the physical. But there's a mental aspect to yoga too.
Yeah.
And I've recently, in the past 5 years, come to the realization that, mindfulness in itself is totally helpful.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's amazing to just the view when you step out of the stream.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, look at how fast that's going.
Yeah, and with technology nowadays, everything is now, and it's a very fast-moving stream. Yeah, absolutely.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
So, philosophy, do you guys I'm curious. I mean, I'm curious anytime human beings are forced to spend time close together.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
When you say here you go, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
No.
But what was that like for you? I mean, do you do okay in tight spaces like the touring circumstances?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I hold my tongue a lot.
You're such a nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I can not be at the same time. But one of my biggest things is I'm an only child. Anything that was mine was only mine.
Right.
And so sharing spaces with these people that you just met.
Oh yeah.
It's very difficult.
Oh yeah.
And then your personal philosophies start getting into play, and you butt heads with people. Mm-hmm. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But learning how to deal with that in healthy ways. That's another thing that I've learned is like how to deal with people.
Yeah.
There are a couple of hard-headed people in the band, and interacting with them, it's kind of like a mirror. Like I see a lot of the negative qualities that I see in myself and these other people, and that's partly why I don't like them at certain points. Love them, we just kind of get mad at each other. Yeah. Is we hate ourselves and other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely really helped with dealing with them. It was like, I'm just dealing with myself. this is how I need to do it, you know. But yeah, right now it is kind of like a sibling love for these people. You know? I care about all of them deeply.
It was family once you're that.
Yeah. Right. An entire year.
When you have to smell each other for that long, you're family.
Yeah, and so all the guys in the band have to share rooms every night, basically. There's one room that rotates, but you're no more than 6 feet away from somebody at all times, you know. Yeah, and it can weigh on you, for sure.
I'd be going for a lot of walks.
Yeah.
A lot of walks.
Yeah, you got to have those moments, you know. Taking long showers, even. That's,
you gotta be able to zone out.
A couple times. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta be able to zone out. Get away from some of that
time.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'll come back to me. There was something in there that I wanted to double back to, but
Yeah. We'll think of it.
it'll come around. We were talking about dealing with other people's philosophies and how we see, you know, or how we argue with ourselves in the mirror and the reflection. You know, it's we like the road rage thing. What it reminded me of were when we have road rage, we know nothing about the people that we're yelling at behind our steering wheel, so we just make up things.
Yeah.
Typically, the things that we make up are associated with ourselves, and the things that we don't like about us.
Right. Yeah.
So we project that on other people, and that always reminds me of Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
Okay.
When he says, "Oh yeah, he reminds me of me."
Yeah.
Yep, I'm sure of it. I hate him.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's strange. It's like there's a certain lack of love for yourself that makes it difficult to deal with other people.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. You know, if people just realize that, everything would be so much better.
I think we're headed that way, though. I had a great conversation yesterday about the interconnectedness of people, and I'm sure that social media has changed the way that people deal with being on tour. I'm sure. I don't know if... Did you ever tour before social media connectivity? No,
this is my first experience.
Big. Okay, so I can remember, just to have something to compare, the last summer that I toured with Drum Corps, we still didn't have no smartphones, none of that good stuff. This was 1998, and so we were on tour 3 months, nearly all summer. And if you got a letter, that was it.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, we'd stop somewhere long enough you could call somebody. Yeah. They would pick up mail like once a week from somewhere.
Right.
So I'm curious, having social media at your fingertips readily, does that make it easier to dip in and out of being in that crowd?
Yes, absolutely. I've spent more time on social media, this past year than I have almost the entire time I've had it. I was never really this strong social media presence. And I'm not now, but I've definitely come out of my shell. I post more often than normal because I'm just on my phone all day. And it helps me escape, but I think the escape just makes me want to leave. It just makes me want to get out of there entirely, which I don't like. I don't like that at all because I want to be able to enjoy what I'm doing, And if I'm having a bad day, and I'm on the phone, looking at what my friends are doing at home, it's like I don't want to be here. I want to be home.
Yeah.
I want to be in my bed. I want to be, just doing whatever I want.
So as opposed to sacrificing.
Yeah, right. You start to get a little sour, and it's a very negative thing. I don't think that you should ever feel like that. I just want to get out. But that's just, it all stems from me being cranky and wanting to zone out for a minute.
Yeah.
But I just choose the wrong medium to zone out with.
Yep. Yeah, I've looked back and been like, oh God, how much time did I waste on that?
Yeah. Shoot. In high school, I played video games.
What'd you play?
A lot. I liked Fallout a lot.
Never got into Fallout, StarCraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a totally different
Different level?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Kind of thing.
Well, it's like
What kind of Fallout was Fallout?
It's totally
first-person shooter?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a first-person shooter. It's a you run around, you can do whatever you want in this world. You do quests and all that stuff. And man, looking back at how many hundreds of hours I've spent just sitting there living a different life,
Yeah.
it's terrifying. It's really scary because whether I knew it or not, that shaped me. That shaped who I would become today.
Mm-hmm.
Spending just hours, looking at a screen and doing menial tasks.
Which is, it's interesting when you think about the advantages of it. Like the repetition of doing things like that is good for really fast twitch processing,
Yes.
like high speed processing.
It is.
So it's good practice for that. But on the verge of the artificial intelligence revolution, the fastest we can pattern recognize isn't going to be fast enough. So it's kind of like, why are we bothering?
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of the things that we're programmed to do is just get better at stuff, get better at pattern recognition. And so if that's all we have,
Yeah.
there's got to be a way to swing it to something good. In a way, it's like speaking a language. If you're, so maybe that's what we need to think of it as. All of that repetition has led to you being an even better saxophone player.
Maybe.
Because you're doing something diligently.
Yeah.
It's broad strokes.
Yeah, that
Just
is-
swinging at it, whatever. Just chopping at it like a.
Yeah. The pattern recognition on the horn.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think that.
Hand-eye coordination. That's what we're going for. That's what we used to say. No, Mom,
Yeah.
we're working on our hand-eye coordination.
Right. I don't think that has helped me play saxophone at all.
Yeah, it's
I
total
usually
bullshit.
close my eyes when I play.
Yeah. Mom didn't buy it either.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I guess it helps with problem solving too.
Sure.
You got to figure out certain things. And
So do you see, with your involvement more in social media and your awareness of its detriment, do you see any ways that you could use it to be productive? Like my first question is, why don't you do some kind of on-the-road podcast? Because I think everybody should get their voice out there and have a conversation.
yeah, I don't know that I would know what to do.
What do you mean?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. It's very boring in the van. I'm just gonna sit there, hey, ride in the van again. I don't know.
Talk to people.
Yeah.
You get 6 hours in with people and things get interesting.
Yes. Like this, this whole setup is great. It's perfect for that. We don't always have a lot of alone time and time to ourselves that we can just do whatever we want, But also, I'm just not that kind of person, It's like I'm slowly becoming the kind of person that posts about their life on social media. I'm nowhere near that yet, and I don't know that I ever want to be fully that kind of person. But social media is a very powerful tool when you know how to use it. I will say that you can get people to come out of your show just like that, just posting a quick little thing. People who would not even thought about it or known about it.
Didn't even know.
Yeah. There they are.
It's
So,
helpful.
that kind of stuff. Or, hey, go check out my website. Go check out these photos of me doing cool stuff. Whatever. It's definitely helpful in this day and age.
Yeah. So how does that manifest for you guys? What is your social media application for the band look like? And what's it like in kind of a post-industry world? Like we are very much on the beginnings of social media being the dominant force while the industry is declining.
Yeah.
And you're right in the middle of that. Does that manifest itself for you? Do you see that regularly? What does it look like? I mean, obviously we started with Audio Tree. That's one version of
Social media.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that Samantha Fish, like the whole thing, not just her, the way that they're doing it, the team is working. She sells CDs at every show. It's like they do it like, hey, come out to this show, and that's pretty much all they do. They're like, come out to this show, watch this, audio tree. But her fans are the ones that push the videos, and they're the ones keeping the fan page, the fandom alive. She barely has to do anything.
That's kind of like word of mouth nowadays.
Yeah,
like
right.
Shares are as good as word of mouth.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kinda.
You maybe reach more people, but it's less intimate.
Yeah, the value.
Yeah. She barely has to do anything. But on the other side, like with Big Jam Space Driver, that's something that we have to do every time. We push our shows, we share, we promote, we do everything we can to get as many people to see, because we don't have that big of a fan base yet.
Let's dive hard into Big Jam Space Drivers.
Okay.
For those of you who don't remember, that was the last time we were together.
Yeah.
And we were doing a podcast, and
When
it was Big
that?
Jam Space Drivers, and probably. And
Yeah.
it was probably what?
Josh Zook, too.
Yeah, and Josh Zook was there.
Yeah.
And Big Jam Space Drivers, obviously, Jam is way more artistic, in my opinion, than that's not the right word. More niche, artistic.
Okay.
Than the type of art that Samantha Fish does.
Oh, totally. Drastically.
Yes, that's way more of an accurate statement than I was about to toss out there. Thank
Yeah.
God I rolled that back, because that would have been inaccurate where I was going.
Right.
So
Yeah.
with Big Jam Space Drivers being much more of a niche art or form of music, brand of music, whatever you want to call it, the social media applications look different. And so your thoughts on either side of that, how the marketing plays in from the social media standpoint, or how that affects the philosophy or the music, or how the music affects the philosophy and the social media. Because when you lose that value of the face-to-face contact,
Right.
what do you balance that with, if not, massive follower numbers?
Right.
So that's a lot, but pick
Yeah.
and choose what you want to.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on all that?
I think that the
Or just
guys,
gush about Big Jam Space Drivers, whatever you want to do. You can do that too.
The guys in Big Jam Space Driver, we know not everyone is going to like our music. We know that we're not going to keep people in most of the venues all the way through. Like we played Brickyard, and I mean, there were people there, and there were people dancing.
I'm sorry I didn't get to make it, by the way.
Oh, dude, it's okay. There will be another one.
Good.
But by the end of the night, it was like we were exhausted because we were pushing. We were really going for things, and then they were also kind of exhausted. The crowd was, because it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, and so we know that we're not going to have millions of followers. It's not really for them; it's for us. Where I think she's built up a brand, and she has fans, but like her shows are very, very regimented. She never really reaches too far out of the shell of the song, and so it's like it's a totally different. Like you said, it's a totally different niche in the music. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, one of the things that I think is different, and I've discussed it with a couple other people, is what it means to be improvisational.
Yeah.
And how that is a different ability level. Because you can speak a language and write an essay, but you could stand behind a microphone and barely get a word out.
Right, yeah.
So being able to be an improvisationalist is a level of expertise that most people don't know.
Yeah.
And so Samantha Fish made a point in Audio Tree. She said that her music now is more lyrics driven, and that she never wants a song to be structured around a solo.
Right. Beautiful.
Therein is the difference.
Yeah, right.
In that in Big Jam Space Drivers, I've seen it. The goal is we've got this cool musical phrase.
Right.
How many ways can we play with it, and what can we do with it?
Right.
And there may not be lyrics at all.
Yeah, there aren't any.
Right, never.
I think us hooting and hollering on the stage. But
so that kind of counts. So those two things, they definitely apply to different people. And then I think it takes more effort to appreciate different levels of art like that.
Yeah, I don't like thinking of it as levels.
No, how does it?
Just different paths.
Spectrum.
Yeah, it's a
so you go spectrum instead of building.
Because that seems like one is better than the other.
Makes sense.
And it's not. Samantha is an amazing musician.
Oh,
Everyone
yeah.
in that band is an amazing musician.
Yeah, yeah.
But the music and the brand doesn't call for that. Mm-hmm. They could do it. We do it for sure. Which is what.
It's the choice. It's the choosing to focus on the lyrics,
right?
Versus the.
And I think that what we're doing, Big Jam, is a huge risk. Because we're kind of throwing money at it and seeing if it does anything. If it catches on. I mean, yes, I'm never here, and those boys are busy. All the time. They're all musicians for a living, and so it's really hard to get us all together to do one big thing. But
just for framing, for people who may not know, the two groups that we're talking about here, Samantha Fish is an incredible nationally touring act and musician, internationally touring act musician that has developed an awesome brand, is an awesome musician, and is a touring thing.
Kick-ass guitar player, kick-ass singer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big Jam Space Drivers is a super group.
Yeah.
You can put it in quotation marks all you want to, but it's a super group.
Yeah, it's a local.
Y'all are
sure.
a local super group.
Yeah.
There's no way around that.
Yeah.
And those are two different things entirely. Right. So please don't make the mistake of us saying that one is better than the other. For those of you listening that can't see our facial expressions.
Yeah, right.
These are apples and oranges, and we are. What I'm curious about, what I'm curious about is how they're alike and how they're dissimilar.
Yeah.
So, that caveat aside, I think I'm grateful that you guys are pushing that envelope, because getting to see a supergroup is a rare thing,
right?
And just speaking of supergroups, it would be really cool knowing what I know about Samantha Fish's work. It would be a whole other thing to see her in the context of a supergroup.
Right.
That's how different a thing these two things are.
She does that actually fairly often. Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, I haven't seen
it. Or what's the name of it?
But, it's not, maybe it's not one particular supergroup. Yeah. But she gets in with, she did a thing with Anders Osborne over Jazz Fest, and Eddie Roberts, who's in my dad's band, or their band. She's doing a thing with Dwayne Allman later this year in San Francisco. She'll go play with these bands that are basically supergroups, and she'll be a part of it. Yeah.
Because who wouldn't want her to come play guitar for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, she does get into that. It's not a consistent thing.
But one more example of how each of these things is different.
Yeah. Right.
But back to Big Jam Space Drivers, I just because the jam band feel and the vibe, I imagine the difference in the crowds, like what you get from the crowd, like you were talking about, is drastically different.
Total opposite.
Yes.
Totally. Samantha's fans are the same people almost every time. She's got this one particular couple that's been to like 190 of her shows.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, they're retired and they can just do that, and they love her. I mean, they've watched her grow up, basically, because she started very young, and so it's a very healthy thing, and they love her. A lot of her fans are like that, devout, but they're all kind of the same demographic, older blues fans, really. it's kind of a dying thing, I think.
Sad, but true.
I know, but there's only so many ways you can do the blues,
Yeah.
But anyway,
Everything has to grow up.
right, and progress. But with us, it's like sometimes we'll get the people who just want to dance. Sometimes we'll get the people who are just tripping out of their minds, and that's kind of the crowd that we want to go for. Is the people who will have like this emotional moment on their own, but to the soundtrack of what we're playing,
Yeah. So the thought comes to mind that sitting down at a concert that going. There are two kinds of experiences. There's one going and giving over, giving your thoughts over to somebody else and be like, I'm just going to pay attention to this. Like when you watch a movie, you give over to the movie and you're like, I'm going to let you steer and you're going to guide the ship. But when you go to see a jam band play, there's way more room to play. It's way more philosophical in that you're not letting someone else drive as directly as you are riding along with a bunch of people.
Right. Because, we're experiencing all of that in the moment as well.
Yeah.
We're, most of the time, half of our songs, we don't know where they're going for a while, which is why we do it. That's the fun part. Right, exactly. That's the whole goal of this for us.
Yeah.
And so, it is kind of a journey together.
That's what I think is fun. Because I, as a stand-up comedian, I have a great appreciation for you have memorized this, you have written, you have composed this whole thing, memorized it, and you get up and perform it.
Right.
Word for word, and you deliver it, and it makes it seem like it's extemporaneous and off the cuff.
Right.
Versus getting up there and being extemporaneous.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing because it's going back to it's a different philosophy, it's a different skill set.
Yeah.
It takes a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And I've always found the crowds that are drawn to that more intimate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Spontaneity and the chance that you guys are going to fall apart and it's going to be really embarrassing, and that's like the adrenaline rush of it, I guess. We don't, there's no real adrenaline rush. We're not in danger, but
yeah, you are.
we kind of are, it's like you may not get hired again.
Hey, look, you may not leave with anything broken,
right?
But when it goes horribly wrong in the middle of a performance, the worst is having to carry that around the next day.
Yeah.
It's like until I get on stage the next time,
right.
I have to live with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's devastating. Like those are the moments in which horrific things can happen. Like incredible, when we talk about how horrible suicide rates have been, those are the moments in which even when we killed from somebody else's perspective, Richard Jeni comes to mind, incredible comedian that just was a slayer through and through. No one would and he ended up committing suicide. Robin Williams, the list goes on and on, but those things that from one, go ahead.
It's the whole that wasn't good enough for us.
Yeah, back to being our own worst critic.
Yeah, back to the whole. It's the same thing.
It is.
If you do bomb, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with, holy shit, you suck.
Yeah.
For however long until you can redeem yourself, and sometimes that never goes away. But we are, we're very loving. Dudes.
You got Jonathan Ashley back there on drums.
I know.
How can you go wrong?
I know. All of them, man. After every show, we all are just like euphoric.
Yeah. Well, when you're around, it's an incredible group of people. Owen Finley, John Hart, Jonathan Ashley,
Cooper.
And Adam Cooper. Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen any of you frown. So that's probably the level of how happy everyone is.
Yeah, and we definitely don't when we're together. Yeah, that's a good group of dudes.
Which is one of the reasons that you have to keep doing the supergroup thing, is because it is the pure sense of, it becomes love, it becomes philosophy, it becomes peace because it is this improvisational.
Right.
What was the word you used? The spontaneousness,
Yeah.
the spontaneity of all of you at the same time, not frowning,
Yeah. Yeah.
and making something amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great thing. I wanted to touch it. It kind of started in a response to the complete and utter lack of that in the scene.
Yeah. When was it?
It was last year sometime.
Yeah.
But I mean, like we played a gig. I think it was this one gig somewhere in Panama City Beach. We were all on it, the whole big jam. It was a John Hart Project gig, and we had this moment where we played this song. This is maybe just for me. I don't know if they remember this or not, but we like really just went for it and like went somewhere that we'd never been before. And then we all came back and it was all fine. It was all great, you know. And that was a really great gig because we were at a venue that the people didn't mind what we were playing. They liked it, you know, no matter what. It was great. It was perfect. And so after that, we were all kind of like, why don't we do this? But as something that, like, something totally different, you know, something we don't have to play what the people want, you know. We're not looking to make money on this. We're doing it as a release for us. But it's kind of, you know, it was around in the 90s. My dad was kind of cultivated that whole thing with his band Kung Fu Mama, which is, you know, a long time ago. But it was totally instrumental, totally written by them. And it was totally experimental, you know.
Yeah.
And then it died away. That was gone. It's like now it's, you know, people just want somebody to go play at Felix's or something. You know, it's like for Bama, I love it. There's a specific type of band that can play there, and it kind of excludes anything else. And we were just tired of it, man. It was kind of the same. You know, it's just.
I think that's an audience thing. It's one of the reasons that I like stand-up comedy is because there is no stand-up comedy cannot be background.
Yeah.
And so it forces the audience to either pay attention or be lost.
Or leave, yeah.
Yeah, and if you can't persuade an audience to pay attention, things go horribly wrong.
Right, and it's you. It's not.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're there to be persuaded. You know, some people are harder than others. Some people have help being harder than others.
Right.
but it comes down to whether the audience wants to be there for something like that.
Yeah.
If you happen into an audience that is there and then you try and perform comedy for them,
right.
Good fucking luck.
Right.
Right? Like they didn't sign on for this. They're not.
We're just having dinner.
Yeah. They don't want any part of that.
Yeah, man.
They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on. So I can identify with how important it is to have an audience that is there for that purpose.
Yeah.
That is there to experience something on that level, that end of the spectrum, because it's a different end of the spectrum than, you know, something that can be background. And when you get to the point where it can't be background, you establish this feedback loop of people feeding off of each other. And that's what I think is so great about what you guys do with Big Jam Space Driver, is because there's no checking in and out of that. Like you are either buying the ticket and taking the ride, or you're not.
Yeah, or you're outside smoking a cigarette.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You wasted however much you spent on the ticket. You know. I think that.
So audience, like.
Right.
How does that look from where you're standing?
Totally depends on the band that I'm in. You know, it's like who am I up there with? And you know, like one thing that I really liked about Ben Jernigan and Yellowhammer and the Brickyard specifically is like Noel took a risk and was like, you got every Thursday to Ben. band.
And look at how far it's come.
I know, man. They were changing the scene.
Yeah.
By bringing all these people in.
Yeah.
From out of town and just having fun up there, and there were crowds every night, every Thursday there was a crowd to see whatever was going on that night. And I think that has helped, but I think that the Gulf Coast needs to really take a look at itself in the artistic community, kind of like music, art, all of it, and realize, hey, we're not going to have a good scene if we don't enjoy and patronize original created music. Like Lee Yankee and Ryan and Harrison McInnes and all those guys, they're writing their own music, and they're lucky enough to be able to do that and the other stuff that draws the crowds in, And I think that Big Jam was kind of like a fuck that other side. Excuse my language, because
Oh no, you can say fuck.
Yeah, I mean, we're just.
You can double fuck that.
Yeah, right. We're just appeasing the masses at that point. Nobody really cares.
That's no fun.
Yeah, and not to rag on the scene or anything, but come on.
I'll rag on the scene for you.
Yeah.
Not for you. I'll rag on the scene for me.
For us, all of us.
I am highly critical of poor audiences.
Yeah.
Because I think it's irresponsible for one and it's rude for another. But I'm also very curious as to how much of it is financial inability, attitude.
Yeah.
Because as someone who grew up in Mobile, I have my druthers and opinions about the state of intellect here in the deep South.
Right. Yeah.
And I hope that is not the reason that people stay away from highly artistic shows and meaning original material.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case. I hope that it's the case of there are a lot of people that would be there if they could afford to be there more often and more involved. But one of the things that goes the first things out of the window is culture. When you start talking about people being indentured servants, which is pretty much, when you look at the poverty levels, it's really hard for a lot of people to enjoy their life.
Yeah.
Because they're so busy worrying about how am I going to feed my kids, all that good stuff.
All of it.
So, in any given scene, I think the Gulf Coast in particular could take some notes from scenes that have had great success. And there are lots of them, pick one.
Yeah,
and take some notes. Of course, New York doesn't work in Perdido Key, and Austin doesn't work in Mobile, but I guarantee you within those, there's a good idea.
Yeah.
And the good ideas usually run across the board. And I think my take on it is that if you support the artists, then the art will flourish.
Right. And that's a huge risk for the bar owners that that have bands. Are you going to hire this person that's going to keep people drinking at your bar? Or are you going to hire this band that you've never heard of and have never played around here, just on the chance that they're good at what they do?
Yeah. So the chance, let's talk about that part for a minute, because I think one of the things we're missing is these authorities. Yeah. We used to have authorities. Jimi Hendrix was a fucking authority on a guitar. Eric Clapton was an authority on guitar. So when they played music, people listened.
Right.
And that was some of the only music they had access to, because the means of getting at music were so limited.
Right.
But we trusted these people because they were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it worked. Now they're not so fucking amazing.
No,
and there are dollar bill signs associated with it. And so it's much harder to differentiate when and where we should pay attention. And so you get the jukebox players to keep people drinking, whereas we have a lack of Ben Jernigans who could be considered authorities that are purveyors of quality.
Right.
Not just, a thing, but a standard.
Yeah.
And being able to, and so there's an impetus on people who have venues to provide a standard.
Right.
And when that standard fails, it fails everybody.
Yeah. And building up that standard is a massive undertaking, I think.
And then the question is whether or not it's worth it.
Right, because a lot of our economy is tourist economy, and they don't care about local creative music.
Yeah.
They want to go to the bar and get hammered and go to the beach. You know?
I'm too drunk to sing this song I don't know.
But I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I think, just across the board, there needs to be a shift towards supporting local creativity. But the problem is you're going to get a lot of shit. You know, you're going to get a lot of people who, not to, it's harsh, but you're going to get a lot of people who think that they're great and are terrible. You know, and that's another standard that you have to set of musicianship. Because otherwise it's just going to be just lackluster in general. I don't think that would be a good way to go about it, just hiring everyone. But that's a weird balance.
You can't just hire everybody, that's for sure. I think we need YouTube to give us the stratification. But maybe that's what's changing, is that that instead of having this hierarchical industry that is top down, you know, that basically the industry tried to trickle down economy, the music world, and fucking ruined it by being shitty purveyors of quality. But another way to look at it is that if we switch that to the spectrum, then you have this spectrum of people that some have more massive followings than others, but everybody has a following.
Right.
And then we can squarely place the responsibility of the audience being cultivated by a venue is the direct responsibility of the venue.
Right.
And if there are no venues that support something on a spectrum, then you can't blame the audience for not patronizing that particular version of the spectrum. So for anybody that's wondering, what I'm doing here is I'm raising a big middle finger to all the establishments that are shitty in regards to the way that they cultivate their audiences.
Yeah.
So there's my rant for the day. Did you like how that was all sweet and flowery and wonderful, though?
Yeah.
Like lots of big words.
Very, articulate.
Sounds like I know shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway, that all sounds puffery and all that good stuff. But aside from all that, getting back to the fun stuff, what's it been like to live your story, man, over the last couple of years? Because from one perspective, bands and all that good stuff, but you're still you still got to survive when you're not on the road and being back. And so what's it been like to decompress?
It's been a blessing and a curse, I think. When I do get back, I have so much stuff that I have to take care of that a lot of times that I get 4 days home. I gotta do dry cleaning. I gotta do all this other stuff.
Stupid podcasts.
Yeah, well, no, laundry, just whatever it is.
Life.
Change your tires. Yeah, I just sometimes it feels like I don't actually get a break. I don't get to decompress. This one, thankfully, we're about to go out for an entire month, and this break is long enough for me to actually go to the beach, lay out one day, and just sleep in. And I've been able to postpone certain things so that I can get certain things done. It's only been 2 days, but it's felt like an eternity already. It feels great to be back.
Good.
But it's this weird balance. Like, you've got to find comfort in, calming aspects to all the crap you have to do. The zoning out while you're folding laundry. There you go. That's one of them. But
you found yours in.
Yeah, right. I hate folding laundry, so I don't know.
I tune out every time.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, it's a delicate balance, I think. But my life has changed a lot in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
I was kind of stagnant before that, and I think the shift was when I went back to school. You know, I was very down on myself and depressed, and I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was just sitting around, you know, playing at bars and getting drunk and all that crap. And then when I went back to school, I had a focus, I had a purpose, you know, and that having a direction, whether it be 10 years down the line or a semester, you know, having this direction it's kind of saved me, you know. I went all the way through, and then I dropped out for this band, you know, for Samantha Fish. I couldn't pass up the opportunity, but now it's like, I have this, I'm doing this until I can't anymore, you know, whatever causes that. It's just having a focus and a purpose is like kind of saved the rest of my life, you know. Not that I was in a terrible path, but
what you wanted to be doing.
Right. Yeah, and it was very detrimental in a lot of ways. But so now I'm in my early mid-20s. It's like I'm learning myself. I'm learning the world, and I definitely have learned a lot recently. So it's been a good ride for a little while. Good stuff. Yeah.
Well, what did you study in school?
Biology.
I
went in with like a marine biology kind of focus, but then I didn't want to do that, and so I have a biology major pretty much done, with a geology minor that is done.
Yeah.
And love geology, man.
Yeah.
It just is so easy to me. I don't know. It's like it's just rocks, you know.
Are you familiar with Randall Carlson at all?
No.
Oh God, and we're about to blow your mind. Okay. Geology is a great gateway to history, and Randall Carlson is one of the guys that is a huge proponent of the Tunguska event. Not the Tunguska event, excuse me. The Younger Dryas event.
Okay.
The Younger Dryas being the time period where the Ice Age came to an end cataclysmically. All the megafauna died in North America.
Yeah.
So Carlson is a geologist that went out and found all this evidence. Now they're like 60 scientists saying they've overturned all this old information and old theories about humans in North America.
Yeah.
The cataclysms that happened around 10,000 BC. You know, this veil that's hard for us to see beyond when it comes to human history. Randall Carlson, this is amazing stuff. Like, he talks about the Younger Dryas event, basically the same scale as the impacts in the Yucatan that caused the extinction of the Triassic 65 million years ago. So this happened over the ice sheets, though.
Right. And just melted it all.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Just wiped everything. Oh, yeah.
No, I do know about
cool
that.
Shit.
Yeah. I don't know who Randall Carlson is.
It's just one of the scientists involved.
Man. Yeah. You can see, if you take a topographic map of the U.S., you can see where the glaciers were coming down just by looking at the map. Like, you don't even have to, like the Great Lakes glacier, you know, it's like they came all the way down into, you know, the middle of the country and then dropped off all these massive boulders that would have been there.
Glacial erratics.
Yeah, right, exactly. And receded, and then just there was this huge flood, like all of a sudden, you know, which could be the biblical floods, I don't know. But yeah, man, that's some crazy stuff that we don't ever experience now.
Yet.
Yeah, right. It may be coming soon. We don't know, but
we hope.
Yeah, but being able to look at just like the basic compositions of a rock and knowing that, wow, that came from, you know, somewhere else, and at this point in time, and this is like however many years old.
I never knew
really
you had a minor in geology.
Yeah, dude,
that's awesome.
It's fascinating to me. I love it. I really like it a lot. And I think what I wanted to do was like freshwater environment and like how, you know, like shoreline erosion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't like the ocean. I'm not too keen on.
You value your life.
Well,
that's good.
Well, you know, I love the ocean, but I don't want to
over there.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to study it really. You know?
I don't need to be that much more on the food chain than I already am. I'm good. I'm good.
But
I got Blue Planet, man.
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But you know, like freshwater environments, river systems. Man, I've learned about the Mississippi. How one day soon, New Orleans is not going to have as much of the Mississippi by it as it does now. They're fighting constantly. They're fighting the Mississippi from flowing out into the Atchafalaya Basin, and basically just rerouting by Baton Rouge and drying New Orleans up. You know, it's like, what? Nobody knows about that, and he wouldn't if he didn't kind of study it.
Unless you pay attention to the fact they've been fucking with the water systems in New Orleans for how many centuries?
Right. Yeah. Or you can
coming.
Or you can look at that. Yeah.
But that's history, and that's one of the things that, and this ties back into audiences and perspectives. I think there's some perspectives that people who don't study geology and don't understand time on that kind of level miss things. There's a whole different perspective there. So,
yeah,
as you were.
Totally. You know, we see it constantly on the bay. The piers and everything, they just get washed away. The shoreline is gone.
Bye.
Yeah, right. And yet we still build on the bay. It's like, how stupid do you have to be, really?
Well,
you know,
in 50 years' time, the southern Florida Peninsula,
it's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, I know.
And that's not speculation. That's not woo-woo. That's the consortium, the consensus, the majority of scientists agree that going bye-bye. Like within the lifetime of people who are alive now,
right?
Florida will most likely be cut in half, if not thirds.
Yeah.
That's like, I say that to you and your face doesn't explode because we know things like this. But there are people out there whose face would explode if they heard that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
I mean, that falls into like believing about climate change. And a lot of people around here don't believe that, you know.
Right.
With audience.
Well, until the slime in South Florida, like the red tide.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
devastating.
And it's so funny that places like the Gulf and the beach and South Florida are so, gone in the next 50 years, so in the middle of climate change. To have as many people standing around going, nah, it's not that big a deal.
It's not happening.
When did cognitive dissonance start to apply to context?
God, I don't know.
That's a fucked up question.
Yeah, man, I don't.
We've gotten so delusional that we can deny reality now.
Yeah.
A lot of people have.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
If you don't believe me, go check out my Facebook page.
Oh, yeah, right.
Looking at you, Facebook.
Yeah. I don't know. It's scary, but those of us that can anticipate it are going to be fine. Until Yellowstone blows up.
We're moving to Colorado. It's going to be okay.
Right. Well, if Yellowstone blows up,
if Yellowstone blows up, everybody in the eastern United States is fucked. Unless the wind changes direction.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like if we avoid the pyroclastic flow,
yeah,
even this far east, we'll be lucky. Yellowstone, goodness gracious, mega volcano.
No, yeah.
The sad thing is we're overdue. So
overdue is a weird term, I think.
Yeah, I don't mean
to
no. This is good.
How do we know that we're due for anything?
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at the signs and be like, okay, pressure's pretty high. But we don't. I mean, I guess we could probably figure out.
Well,
how
historically,
much pressure it could take. But historically, it's like everything's it's random.
Flux. Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It's maybe there is a pattern, but it's seemingly random.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been saying for the past 13 years that we're due for another Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
And where is it? We say it every year. We're due for another one. Oh, we're due for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not here.
That's why when it shows up, it was due.
Right. Exactly.
Got to be ahead of the curve.
Yeah. you know what I mean, though? It's like,
I'm kidding.
do is strange, and it doesn't have an endpoint.
So a better way to put it would be that in the cycles, because we know things happen cyclically.
Yeah.
So within the cycle, it has been a longer period of absence than
previously.
Yeah.
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 And
that would be more accurate.
Right.
Because that's just an observation.
Yeah.
As opposed to
Absolutely.
an expectation.
Yeah, right. And I just think that
the expectation is unwarranted.
Yeah. Like
it's unjustified. It is.
It is. But it's kind of when it happens, it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen, we can't really be surprised. You know? Like, I don't know.
So I use the word overdue, or we're due to, I would like to think less inaccurately than I just described. An inaccurate use of it would be, so how I would phrase that to be more accurate would be, or make the same point, would be the rising temperature of the Gulf is a great concern because it's an exacerbator for hurricanes.
Right.
And the lack of deep ocean currents because of the rise in the Gulf, especially around the Florida Peninsula, is highly troubling.
Oh, yeah.
And makes us more susceptible to the conditions. So that would be my well-researched overdue.
Right.
But still, overdue is not the correct terminology. The correct terminology would be the...
extremely susceptible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And increasingly as time goes on.
See, I forgot you were a saxophone player for a second there. I love this.
I kind of
this is great.
Two sides.
As we all should, which is why I love this, because I've never gotten to talk to you about geology before.
Yeah.
So how do you see the circumstances we find?
Are past the point of no return, and we're going to have to find alternate ways of existing on this planet.
Yeah.
If we exist on this planet at all, in the future. Drastically different ways. And I was talking to my girlfriend Rachel, I think last night. It was like I was talking about Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Great dude, doing a lot for the world, but he's spending massive amounts of money on building a space program. Great. Mm-hmm. What about the trash island out in the ocean?
Yeah.
Where's all the money flowing into
Which
fishing
trash
now?
island in the
exactly.
ocean?
Like,
Pacific or Atlantic, or pick another ocean.
Right. I mean, okay, yes, we have gone past the point of no return. Doesn't mean that we can prolong the inevitable just a little bit by getting rid of all the trash or just repurposing it even. And I know that it's a very difficult task, but we created that trash out of elements on this planet. We can get rid of that trash with elements and things that we've created on this planet. Everything on this planet that we have done or whatever has been here.
Yeah.
And
are there any plans that you like, or programs that you like that are doing those things?
I don't know. I haven't really researched specific things,
Sure. Okay.
I've seen, graduate students coming up with these devices that'll pick up the trash out of the ocean. I've seen, ways to purify the water systems that are very practical. Mm-hmm. Where are they? What happened to them? Why is nobody backing it?
Yeah.
I don't. It's really crazy to me.
I feel the same way, especially when we've got there are solutions out there.
We have the technology for water-powered cars, and water is a limited resource at this point. But like solar-powered cars, fuel-powered cars that run 150 miles per the gallon.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's been bought up because of greed, which I'm not a religious person, but if you talk to me about the 7 deadly sins, I think that's the worst.
I think that is the arch nemesis of our time, for sure. But I think it's promising that there's a chance we're going to get away from it. Dude in 2020 is talking about universal basic income on the ballot.
Okay.
I don't know if that's something you're interested in, but that's a big change.
It is a big change, and I think that it would be a helpful thing. I'm not politics and economics. I'm not versed in that at all.
Not really.
But yeah, I think that would help. You know, anything.
Well, I think it ties back into where we started with art and with being a good audience member and being a good participant, in that when we are unencumbered by our bills, then we're afforded the opportunity to enjoy and participate in creating stuff.
Yeah.
You know, even if it is just as an audience member, and greed is a big obstacle to that right now. And I'd like to think that we are on the precipice of getting to something where we're going to be able to push past that and go, why are we denying anybody this? Or not even denying, but why aren't we just actively promoting everyone be at a better level in their life circumstance?
Yeah, I think that there's a whole, this is bold, a whole generation of people that just kind of need to go away. You know, they're
You're not
the
the first
ones,
person to say that.
Yeah, I know. I love people in that generation. You know, it's like, it's not something that I believe wholeheartedly, like we should kill all the old people. Not saying that, but like, all right, you're going to be here for the next 20 years tops. It's time to step back and let the younger generation take over. Mm-hmm. You have so much money that you don't even know what to do with it.
You can't do anything with
it
it all.
Anything, and you're just sitting there waiting to die. Yeah. And it's like you're killing all of us in the process. Mm-hmm. And
it's going to resolve itself. One way or the other.
Time is going to kill off the people.
But Thomas Jefferson even agreed with you, and he wrote that even in the forms of government, every 20 years, he said 19, but every 19 years, all of that shit should be rewritten.
Yeah.
And not to change the ideals, but to change who gets to control the future.
Yeah.
And the people that have more future to live should get an appropriate say in what goes on in the future.
That's so basic.
It's just math.
Yeah. I know.
It's not even complicated.
And yet, it's going to be a while before that actually happens, I think.
Yeah.
I have a very pessimistic outlook on the future of this planet, but...
Well, do you think artificial intelligence and processing power and social media and the information age is going to help or hurt that?
Social media in general has already been shown that it hurts. The whole Facebook scandal about Trump and Russia, whatever. I don't know anything about that whole thing, but I know that there were ads, sent to people.
We have to hear about it now, so it must be a thing.
Exactly, and it's probably been a thing for a while. Social media, I don't know. Technology and AI, that's going to expand exponentially until we do not exist, and then it's going to keep going because it can do it on its own.
Yeah.
Which maybe is a better thing. I don't know, but I think that technology is only going to get better, and it's only going to help us more, but we've got to be willing to put it in the right place and have it doing the right thing. And so I kind of think of humans as a sickness, like a plague on this planet. Yeah.
I like to say that we're just fucked up little critters.
Yeah, I mean, we are. Like, I flew into Los Angeles recently. Yeah. And up in the air, I was sitting next to the drummer in Samantha's band, and we were looking out, and I was like, dude, it's a scab.
Makes Agent Smith look real right.
Yeah, dude, that's a huge scab. And he was like, I was just about to say, hey, look at that huge scab. And I was like, it's disgusting, the amount of just what is there. It's disgusting. And whatever. Very bold. I don't want to die. I don't want to quit my existence on this planet, but we're going to have to figure something out.
Well, I think we've all gotten to the point where we can look around and go, there are better ways to do all of this.
Yeah.
And there have been for a long time, and a lot of people are frustrated that we've waited so long to make any real efforts at doing things better on a big scale.
Yeah.
Because It's one of the reasons that I think the Works Project was such a big deal during Roosevelt's, during FDR's time, and why all that mattered is because a whole bunch of people felt like they were making shit better.
Right.
And nowadays, people just feel like they're boot heeled.
Exactly. Well, okay, so it's easy to sit here and talk about all this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what have I done to change anything? I haven't done anything. I just sit here and talk
You're doing
about
something
it.
right now.
Yeah, I'm doing something right now. I'm, talking about it on a public platform. But, I mean, what more can I do? What more can you do? What more can we all do? And I just don't know. Like, I think that's what's really frustrating for me. It's like, right now it looks like a David and Goliath kind of thing. It's like, what can little old me do against a multi-billion-dollar corporation?
Well, like Desmond Tutu says, it's just the last person I heard say it, and I just like saying his name and seeing his face in my memory. I'm sure someone else came up with it, but there's only one way to eat an elephant.
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
Yeah, bit by bit. Yeah.
And I think, like you said earlier, that's where community is so important.
Yeah.
And the people around you, and having people around you. And that this is to demonstrate that how and it can be done to have a conversation and just sit down and talk about stuff and focus on something besides social media for a minute. And so setting a good example is one, and spreading a little love and joy in your community is the other, which you do very, very well and a shit ton of.
Thank you.
Just give yourself some damn credit.
All right.
Because I think doing more conversating and doing more playing music and doing more making people laugh is a good thing. So I take away that every time I get a laugh on stage, that's like it's like a fairy fart. It's maybe not the best, but it can't be the worst.
Right. They're going home happy.
Right. So
that trickles.
You fart this little thing into existence. I don't know why I wanted to see a fairy fart, but whatever.
You can picture it.
Yeah, it's my visual learning all over again. So I think those things are very helpful. Keep doing art, keep doing all that good stuff. And what else? What else could we do? Go to a show. A show.
Thursday night at the Brickyard.
Yeah, for those of you on Facebook, Thursday night at the Brickyard. It's on the reg.
It's this time it's me, my dad, and Kevin Scott on bass. He plays with Jimmy Herring. He played with Colonel Bruce for years. He's touring the country. He's in my dad's band with Eddie Roberts and Alan Evans, Matador Soul Sounds.
Nice.
And I mean, he's a just disgustingly good bass player. And then the drummer's kind of up in the air right now. We
and
had a
it's this
cancellation
Thursday
last minute.
is the
9th.
The 9th.
Thursday the 9th, Brickyard, 10 p.m., $5. Nothing for some amazing improvisational music.
Hell yeah. Well, we've been at this for an hour and a half, and I know you've got things to do, so we're gonna dip out here because I know we could both keep going.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you for your time.
Yeah.
What other plugs do we need to get in? Big Jam Space Drivers.
Big Jam Space Driver.
Samantha
Fish, yeah.
And the Brickyard.
Crank at the Brickyard. Yeah.
Crank at the Brickyard. Anything else?
Matador Soul Sounds.
Matador Soul Sounds, Dad's band.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
does he still do the Grateful Dead or the Thankful Dead or whatever that is? Is that
Mobile's Dead. I don't know.
Mobile's Dead, yeah.
I don't know what the plan for that this year is. I think there is one going on.
Okay.
I don't know about it.
Well, Mobile's Dead, if that's happening. If
November.
Not, go find a video, like and subscribe, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've got anything exciting. The open mics in Mobile, Tuesdays at the Tinderbox, Wednesdays, thanks to the Tinderbox for letting us hang out and do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else? What am I missing? I know I'm missing something. If you're on Facebook and you want to check out the rest of the podcast, there are 50 some odd episodes now on truthloveandpeace.com. You can find the YouTube links and all of that at comptonsmith.com. And I think that's fucking it.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add?
I don't know. Live your life. Do what you want to.
Dude, well, thank you so much for sitting down, Chris. This has been awesome.
It has, yeah. I've had a
And
good time.
Until next time, ladles and jelly spoons. Truth, love, peace.
Great.